Happy Monday, Broncos country. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Broncos. I got a little scared there. It went live. Didn't expect it to. Bring Mace to Zach Seegers, Joey Richards. Guys, schedule release is up, but before we jump into it, got to ask you, how are you?
I'm doing great, Bree. I am on the edge of my seat for this Nuggets-Lakers series. I have Nuggets in 6. I think we're going to close that out in LA in a game 6. I just think the Nuggets are better. I just think the Nuggets are the better team. I really do. Anthony Davis, obviously, one of the best defensive players in the world, if not the best defensive player in the world, the most impactful. I just think Jokic is that good. That's on my honest opinion. I've been saying it the entire year. I think Jokic is, I've been arguing with my roommate about this. I've been arguing with everybody about this. I think Jokic is the best player in the world. I've been saying it for a little bit now, and I think he's about to prove it. He's about to get his toughest test in a long while, and he's just going to prove to people that he's the best. So I got Nuggets in 6.
I love it, Joey. I'm going to go Nuggets in 5. I always feel like I prefer to bet on them closing it out at home. And I don't know. I don't think anyone can beat the Nuggets at home in Denver right now. And I think they're going to be able to steal one in LA.
Wow. That is...
Just lost our whole LA audience. That's great.
Goodbye. Fare thee well. We'll see you at the end.
Yeah.
Once the Western Conference Finals are over, you can come back and watch Let's Talk Broncos. This is a Nuggets podcast. I'm
the second best center.
I want to say Nuggets in 6, but I'm going to go Nuggets in 7. I see this being long, drawn out. I see officiating becoming an issue. There's going to be a couple of games where we're going to ask what the heck happened there. I think the Nuggets are going to get robbed in a little bit of it because that's just what we've been seeing this entire season. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't have any skin in the game, but what I'm going to say is it's going to be a tough series just because I didn't want to see the Lakers in this matchup. It's kind of time for the Denver Nuggets to slay that dragon. I don't have any doubts. I just think that there's going to be a lot in their way to be able to pull this off, but I'm looking forward to it. I know we all are. We're going to try to catch a game. Obviously, it's a little tough to do so as we're getting closer to that championship run, but it's going to be an exciting one, guys. Let's hop into it, though. We've got Broncos talk to get into. First, probably want to start off talking about Javonte. What is happening?
Jerry's just have the Broncos 3 on.
I can't be happy that we're talking about our favorite football team now. Sorry, I didn't understand the rules to the Let's Talk Broncos podcast. Sorry, I thought I could be excited about the Broncos. Carry on.
You weren't excited. That's the thing.
It was a bit...
I'm sorry, I didn't know the rules. Damn.
I wish we're live, so it's like I can't even start over and be like, guys, we got to do this again. We just have to roll with it. I want to get into the news, though, first and foremost, before we jump into the schedule talk, because we're going to talk about like our most exciting games we're looking forward to, possibly to some games we'd be interested in attending, and then what's the toughest stretch here on the Denver Broncos schedule. But first and foremost, I want to talk about some really interesting news surrounding Broncos country right now, and that's Sean Payton's comments on Javonte Williams, unprompted, that he should be available much earlier than expected. I know it's blowing the mind of some of Broncos country's most favorite fans because they don't want to rush him back necessarily. I think his rehab is going well. I made the comment today on the Fan Cave about, well, it would be kind of shocking 9.5 months post-surgery to be ready to go, specifically after injuring multiple CLs. But other players have done it. Why not Javonte Williams? How do you guys feel about this news? Do you think it's nothing really to sweat over? Do you think Javonte Williams will be ready to start the season?
It almost seems like a lie because it just seems insane. Like, I don't even understand how this is possible. I'll be honest. It's crazy. Like, I didn't expect him to be ready until well into the season, if I'm being honest. Nonetheless, training camp, that just seems crazy to me. But I do think it's good news. Like, of course, this is great news. The one thing I want everyone to be, just keep their cool a little bit. Javonte Williams might be rehabbing faster than any of us have expected, but I don't want everyone's expectations to be the same Javonte Williams immediately as what he was before. It's just not fair to the player. That's why I'll say that. I don't think if he doesn't perform like the guy we all knew and loved right away, he should catch any heat, honestly. I think it's up to the coaches whether they want to play him right away, whether they think he's a welcomed addition to the lineup right away. And if he's not playing up to standard, it's on the coaches at that point. It's not on Javonte Williams. I can't blame the guy for rehabbing off of injury. And it would be extremely, extremely, extremely rare for a guy, multi-ligament knee injury, to come out and perform amazing. So I want everyone, to calm down a little bit. I am very excited about it. It's great, great, great news. Just make sure your expectations are in line. That's the one thing I want to make sure about this.
Yeah, if he is I hate to even say it, but like if he's an average starting running back again, that's a win. Coming back from this injury, like it is severe. You can cite the Adrian Peterson example and everything, but like even the Adrian Peterson or Jamal Charles examples where guys came back and were really effective the next year, it was just an ACL. They weren't also battling through the PLC and the LCL tears like Javonte is. I also don't think, I think you could say it about AP actually, right? It's so annoying to me that his nickname was AD when his initials are AP.
All day.
Just then call him all day. But
Get off my lawn.
That's grumpy old Zach take. But that was he's such an amazing player, and like that's the nickname. Like King Henry, so cool and whatever. But coming back from this injury when contact balance is a tremendous part of Javonte's game, I think it's going to be really hard for him to be effective early on. I was talking about this on the Fan Cave with Bree. I think he might be better off for it in the long run if he is able to return to 100% down the road, just because I think this is going to force him to develop kind of his vision and feel for those running lanes a little better. Something that Joey and I both talked about is like the big gap in his game. But and I'm not a doctor, but after how much damage was done to that knee, it's crazy to imagine him carrying like 4 or 5 NFL players with pads and equipment and all that stuff 15 yards down the field like he used to. Like that's just, and I would love to be proven wrong. It's hard to imagine, especially this soon after the injury. If he's that way in 2024, I'd be ecstatic.
Yes, I think that's the main point. It's just like, hey, Javonte Williams was so special in a lot. I would say the majority. I would say almost 80% of it. The reason why he was so spectacular was because of physical gifts. I really do believe that. Like he was really good as a receiver and a blocker, and I think that was the most technical aspect of his game. I really do. I think the running ability so much. He leaned so heavily on the athleticism and stuff like that that even a step back is a little scary. I don't know what the type of player I'm going to see if it's even a little bit of a step back, when he's breaking tackles, he's making wrong reads good, breaking tackles. I'll be honest with everybody. There are plays where he could get 10 yards on an easier route than where he's actually getting 10 yards from. And that's constant with his film. And it's just because he's so spectacular at breaking tackles. He's great at it. He's fast enough. He's big enough. He has enough explosiveness in those legs to drive and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. It's scary. Even a little bit of a drop off is a little scary. So, but I want to make this absolutely clear because it sounds like we're being negative. I am ecstatic about the news about his rehab.
Yes.
The Broncos need a running back in this room. And if he is ready to play week 1, if he does take a step back, we need that guy. We still very much need that guy in the room. He's probably still better than everyone behind P. Ryan. I think
he's still better than P. Ryan, probably.
So, hey, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to be really happy about it.
Yeah, it's promising news, just like you said. It's about tempering expectations. Yeah,
that's my line. I trademarked it.
Yeah. We'll see him out there, and I don't know. It's just if he ever returns to what he was, it'd be amazing. If he's even a good starter again, like that would be impressive. I think 70-60% of players ever who have multi-ligament knee injuries return to the NFL. So there's a good chance he's never going to be able to return. It already looks like he's going to return one season removed. So I think it's promising news, and like Joey said, they need it. Yeah, it's just scary stuff.
Coop says in the chat, it's kind of unfair to assume he'll ever be the same again. And I said this a little bit earlier on the fan cave of a 75% Javonte Williams is still something that I think Sean Payton is going to have to rely on, specifically because the idea for the Denver Broncos offense is establishing and making a commitment to the run. I don't know if you're going to find that with Demaria Crockett, who also suffered an ACL injury in training camp last year and was out. So you find yourself in a need and a necessity for running back. The Denver Broncos did not address running back in the draft. Therefore, the news of bringing back Javonte Williams in training camp for the start of the season is a good thing, because if you're putting your entire offense behind the running back to somehow rescue Russell Wilson and you don't have your starting RB1, I could see how that could be a difficult pill for all of Broncos country to swallow. Guys, how do you feel about that? Do you think that the emphasis on the success of Sean Payton's offense and the Denver Broncos for 2023 relies on Javonte Williams not only being healthy, but ready to go as the first down back?
I think there's a big portion of that. I do. And I was just about to ask you guys too, but I'm going to just go out there and say it. I almost wonder if the reason why they didn't draft a running back or sign another running back to this point is because of Javonte's rehab. I wonder if they're banking on that right now. I'm not saying that's the smart choice, but I am saying that that's a possibility of something, especially for him to come out and have those quotes in rookie training camp where it's like, hey, our running back won. He's doing all right out there. Like we think that he's going to be okay. I'm curious about that because it seemed like such a blatant and obvious need for the Broncos for them not to address it at this point. But Bree, to you, what you're saying, I totally agree. I think that, yes, if Javonte Williams were to come back fully healthy, the ceiling of this Broncos offense is significantly higher. It's significantly higher. Even if he's taking a step back a little bit, the floor is higher. The Broncos need a running back on that room. I said that earlier, but they don't have anybody after P. Ryan that I can rely on. So I do definitely think if you're trying to build a smash mouth football team, Javonte Williams is going to help establish that. No question.
Part of the running backs don't matter philosophy is that it's easy to find a lot of like average starters at the position, at least in theory. The Broncos don't really have any. They've got P. Ryan, and that is it. And to me, Williams is still a big question mark. I think you raise a good point, Joey. Maybe they feel very confident in his rehab and what their doctors are seeing. I would say, how can we know? Like, I get maybe it's looking good under x-rays and everything, but so much of like talking about his run style, it's so explosiveness heavy. It's so what makes Javonte Williams a special running back is his ability to run through contact. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to know what Javonte Williams is at this point until week 1. Like not even in the preseason. I don't think we're going to really know. I think it's going to be live NFL reps when we start seeing like, does it look like he has that same explosiveness and power and ability to run through tacklers? So maybe they are making that evaluation. I just say I wouldn't trust anyone's evaluation of the situation outside of the medical stuff. I trust doctors saying the medicals look good or whatever, but in terms of we think we can base our offense around this guy, I'm not sure. And I do think this is going to be a foundational element of their offense. They are throwing it back to the Pete Carroll, early Russell Wilson days. What did those teams have? Marshawn Lynch. Javonte Williams compares really nicely to Marshawn Lynch before the ACL injury, but we don't know if that comparison's still there post ACL. I think they still need to add bodies. I continue to throw out Zeke Elliott. Maybe his market is really expensive. I imagine he'd be a fairly cheap addition. And I think he perfectly fits the identity of what this team needs. You look at what he was for the Cowboys last year. He wasn't an explosive runner, but on first and second down, he was consistent at picking up positive plays, 4 or 5 yard chunks, forced defenses to respect him. He's a hard guy to tackle, made them fill the box. He has good vision. He aligns with, I think, the vision of this offense well. And at the very least would just be an insurance plan. Because even if Javonte is Javonte, I don't want the weight of carrying this offense put on that freshly recovered knee. I would like other running backs along with P. Ryan and Javonte to help carry that load.
Yeah.
Samuel Castro asked, and it's right in line with what you were saying, Zach, do you think Javonte will even try to play in the preseason, or do they just wait till the season opener? So Sean Payton has been pretty upfront about the idea that there's needed in more contact for these players going into the season. I think Javonte Williams might be the exception here. If he's ready to go, I don't see why you wouldn't want to at least get him worked back into the game plan, but I wouldn't bank on it necessarily.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, Bree. I totally agree with you. I would almost rather them hold him out until the regular season. I don't think preseason is showing me anything with the guy that's recovering off of this. I don't want to see that. I really, really don't want to see that. If there's anything I don't want to see is Javonte Williams freshly recovered off a multi-ligament knee injury playing in meaningless football. I don't care about that. I'd rather check him out in the regular season, give him a couple carries, and let's evaluate from there. But the Broncos are in this situation, guys, because they didn't address the position. Now there still are some guys available, to Zach's point, but nobody that's really ideal. There's no one really explosive out there, or anyone that you can even hope to become a lead back for your football team, a guy you want to give a bunch of touches to. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think Javonte Williams honestly is the best hope for that, and it's kind of scary, being that he is coming off that injury.
There's a couple of things the Denver Broncos didn't address in the offseason, which we've been talking about at length. I'm sure we'll have more discussions about it, specifically as we work through the 2023 season, seeing how it unravels. Did they do enough to address some of the issues along the defensive line, across running back, and then even offensive line depth? Frankie Abbott says, to counter slightly, I don't hate the idea of slowly working Javonte back to help him regain some of that confidence in his knee before the season starts, if he's fully cleared medically. I get that, Frankie, and I understand that as well.
Good point.
Slow but steady. We saw the same thing happen with Greg Dulcich. Obviously, the tightness in his hamstring became more of an issue than it was able to. Not comparing the injuries, but don't want to rush a player back when they're not ready. I think it's finally time, though, that we head on over to discuss the Denver Broncos schedule release. I'm going to add that to the stream so we can take a look at it. Guys, first look, first glance, tell me about what game in particular excites you the most, because I'm going to let you know right now, bookending the season, starting off for Las Vegas Raiders and then ending the season with the same team, that is quite the nod to what I hope this season can turn into. If the Denver Broncos can take that first game, you change the momentum for the rest of the season. I don't know about you guys, but that home opener is definitely the one I'm looking forward to.
So the Raiders is the game that you're looking forward to. Is that because you want to go back to Vegas with the Let's Talk Broncos crew, Bree? Is that the reason why?
Yeah, that would also be, I think, an exceptional choice of what we're looking at.
All right. I'll be honest, guys. Mine is, so I'm not looking at this as like, hey, what's the best matchup, whatever the case may be. I am a fan of the NFL. I love watching all the NFL games. The Sunday ticket, I'm watching every single game. I love watching good football, and good football players. I love that. And it seems like Chicago, they just draft or trade for every single player I love. Like, and that's not an exaggeration. I have been in the group chat with these two the whole offseason when I was studying wide receivers, trying to get better at my wide receiver evaluations. And I was talking about DJ Moore. Guess who got DJ Moore? Chicago. Guys, who's like my favorite quarterback coming out of the draft? Justin Fields. Tevin Jenkins. I loved coming out of college. Chicago. It's just like Chicago gets all my guys. Khalil Herbert. I loved Khalil Herbert. Chicago. They get everybody. So I would really looking forward to watching that game. Maybe not as like a fan of the Broncos aspect, but as a fan of football, where I'm watching two teams where I have a lot of players I like on both teams. So I would say Chicago is the game I'm most looking forward to.
Man, I got two. I think the lazy answer is or maybe not lazy, but if the easy answer is week one, just because I'm curious, like, what does this Vance Joseph defense look like? What does Sean Payton do with Russell Wilson? Like, how fixable is that? What does Javonte Williams look like, to the conversation where we just had? Tim Patrick as well, like all these Broncos coming back from injury. Sorry, I thought you picked week 18 because you were talking about us going to Vegas.
No, I was just talking.
Well, week 8, my bad. Then week 18 would be one I'd spotlight, season finale. I think that's also an easy answer because it's a season finale against the Broncos' biggest rival. I think they're more in the same weight class where like the Chargers and Chiefs are a step above. And they have to get this rivalry back in control. It's been embarrassing. How the Raiders have owned them the last few seasons. Like it's one thing with the Chiefs, but the Raiders, that's just downright embarrassing. The other one though, the revenge tour against New York Jets and Nathaniel Hackett coming
that'll be fun.
to Denver. I think that's going to be interesting. Both teams should kind of like.
I don't want to hear about Aaron Rodgers
by week 5, but I'm more focused about the Nathaniel.
I wish
Hackett.
we didn't have Vance Joseph.
I think that's a huge Nathaniel Hackett revenge spot potentially. I think he'd love to watch a Jets defense hold Russell Wilson to 10 points and just romp all over this Vance Joseph defense and give him the what for. Will the Broncos be able to stop that? We will be able to see. Denver.
Open you want to do another revenge game, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Von Miller recovered from his injury in week 10 against Buffalo?
Prime time. Well, they did Broncos Bills Monday night. I had noticed that before.
I know, and that sucks because we're probably going to get killed. But I hope. I mean, okay. So here's a question: Von Miller gets a sack against the Broncos. What's your like innate like feeling? Are you guys like happy? Are you sad? Are you guys pissed? Are you screaming at the TV? Or are you like, happy? What it is because it's Von Miller?
I'll tell you, I know Bree's reaction. This is the same person that I know is player over team. 100% ride or die. I won't even throw her under the bus. But when it comes to this situation, Von Miller sacking Russell Wilson, the Bree's not even going to. Bree will like. I don't know.
Doing a sack dance in my living room.
You will. You'll do the chicken. Do the 3 thrusts.
Oh my god. You guys are ridiculous.
I'm glad you said it and I didn't.
I mean, I set it up as like, hey, let's be happy for Von Miller thing, and then it turned into a, hey, Von Miller sacked Russell Wilson.
I'm just like, yes.
Let's be real. I'm gonna be Joey. Are you gonna be bummed? Or are you gonna be like, oh shucks?
Oh shoot.
I mean, Von Miller. So when I played high school football, I wore 58, and it was because of Von Miller. I was an edge defensive end guy, and Von Miller was my favorite player. So I'd probably just chalk that one up to the game. It is what it is. You call it a day. That's what I would do. And then afterwards, I would rewatch it. I'd probably post a clip on Twitter and be like, I miss Von Miller, and like do a whole thing. But that's it.
Let's say that the first 4 games go swimmingly for Denver. There's a stretch of games here, 6, 7, and 8. So you got KC, Green Bay, KC. I'm not really worried about the Packers in any shape or form, but the bean sandwich between the Kansas City Chiefs, just come back and you don't have to announce yourself, Joe. You can just slide back into the stream.
I'm back. You need to freak out, everybody. I am back. The show can continue. I know you guys were probably struggling. Anyways, what are you saying, Bray?
Goodness.
The sandwich of Kansas City, Green Bay, Kansas City. Zach made mention to obviously the league trying to get that out of the way, get it all shored up. So that's not what we're anticipating for some late season fare. I'm not happy about seeing Kansas City this rapidly. It feels a little like, oh my gosh. So the last couple of seasons, the Denver Broncos haven't really faced AFC West divisional opponents, and now they're getting them right off the bat. I am worried about this one. This stretch is the one that concerns me the most. The rest of them, they're going to fall as they may. The Kansas City one, I don't think this is the year they break the streak, so it's concerning to me.
Yeah. I'll say this. I'm with you, Brie. I'm not very optimistic this is the year they break the streak, unfortunately. But this is actually kind of when I want to see Kansas City, I feel. That Andy Reid owns the month of September like nobody's business. It's insane. He just dominates. But then I feel kind of in this like October stretch, he tends to like kind of get counterpunched and take a while to adjust back. Like it's the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid Chiefs. They're good year round. But I do think that's the middle part of the schedule is generally when they've kind of stumbled a bit, and then they kind of close the season on a roll. and generally on a roll through the Broncos or over the Broncos. So I'm glad that's not happening. But it's going to be a brutal schedule, especially if Jordan Love pans out. That Packers team, don't sleep on the Packers. They're set up pretty well for the post Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I'm
era.
dead asleep, Zach.
And
I'll
it-
be honest.
I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be sneaky.
out of your
I think
mind.
they're going to
Jordan
compete
Love
for a
is
playoff
not-
spot. But if Jordan Love's good,
I mean, I took a sleeping pill.
But the stretch I'm most worried about is week 3 through week 6. I think you're still going to be going through some maybe like growing pains, implementing some new stuff on defense, and then a whole new offense. Sean Payton trying to figure out how to make Russell Wilson work, et cetera, et cetera. And you have 3 out of 4 on the road. You're seeing Miami, who I think is a legit AFC power this year. The Jets, who I also think is a legit AFC power this year. The Chiefs, who I think are obviously they're probably the best team in the NFL. And then the Chicago Bears, who I think are going to be like fun to watch, as Joey laid out, but I don't think they're going to be bad this year. I think they're going to be kind of middle of the pack. I like the moves they've made. I think Justin Fields was really impressive last year. Now has some more talent around him. And that's definitely the easiest of the 4 games. But even that one, a road game in Chicago, I don't think is a layup. So that 4-game stretch jumps out to me as especially brutal.
Yeah. Okay. You guys stole the 2. So I'm pretty much going to pick which one I agree with more right now.
Who's right, Joey?
I wish I could extend both your guys out a little bit because Zach stole the Jets, right? I want to extend Breeze out to the Jets and then extend it also one more game to Buffalo. That is the toughest stretch. It's Jets, Chiefs, Packers, but then we got Chiefs and then Buffalo again. That's the tough stretch.
You got the bye week, though.
I was just going to bring up the bye
to-
week. The bye week's perfect. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Whoever gave the schedule to this Broncos was.
Yeah, week 9. Shout
They
out
need
to
it
you.
right there. They need it.
Yeah.
And it could get worse because Minnesota's going to be solid, and Cleveland, I'm hoping they're really bad, and Watson looks like he looked last season. But if he returns to like old Deshaun Watson form, they'll be in the AFC. They'll be probably a playoff team as well. The rest of that roster is pretty solid. They just had the worst quarterback in the NFL for the last third of the season. If they're able to prove, like with Jacoby Brissett, they were a playoff team last year. It could be a problem.
I'm just gonna switch our panels here for a second. You guys, right off the bat, just gut feeling. Do you think the Broncos can avoid going winless in the AFC West this year, especially with the Raiders in tumult?
Yes, I think that they will win a couple games at the minimum. I think that they will. I think that they'll win some games in the AFC West this year. I think the addition of Sean Payton is so good. I think his game planning is going to be better. I think everything coaching-wise will improve dramatically, which gives me just those game planning improvements against those teams that you see more than once a year, right? I think we have an advantage. I don't know about the Andy Reid one, but in the other 2, I think the Broncos have an advantage in coaching. And we should be able to pull at least one win out from both those teams, is my opinion.
And he might not have the advantage against Andy Reid, but at the very least now it's not a blowout. Like the Nathaniel Hackett Andy Reid battle of minds is going to be the margin there's going to be wider than the Sean Payton Andy Reid battle.
Coop said might need to come down for that Minnesota game. Looks like Coop's coming to visit the LTB crew. Can't wait for that one. Make sure you come and say hello.
Hi.
We're going to wrap it up here on the schedule breakdown. And of course, it's time for everyone's favorite time of the evening. And that's Joey's question of the day.
All right, guys. My question is, let's say the Nuggets don't win the championship. Which of the other 3 teams would you hope win the championship if the Broncos don't? And I also want the chat to answer this because I am curious. I don't think we really love any of these people left.
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah. Okay. So Breeze saying, go ahead, Zach, because Joey tipped his hand before the show.
God, why are you letting us into our inside details?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You're like
throwing behind the scenes. Hey, we're gritty.
like John Elway out here, just letting us know. Just letting them know. This is crazy.
And normally you don't though, so I think it's fine. This one time you did though, and it started a fight. You can tell it's already going to be a touchy feisty topic. I want the Lakers to win it all. If it's not the Nuggets.
Yeah, spicy. I'm gonna clip just the I want. Okay, continue.
I owe you. My thing is, generally speaking, I want to see like the extremes. I want to get to witness the extremes. Like I wanted the Warriors to complete their 73-9 run, and I want the Browns to go 0-32 or whatever it was. Like I want to witness the extremes. I want to say I saw the worst team ever, and I saw the best team ever, and I saw the best player ever and the worst player ever, Dylan Brooks. And I want to see the extremes. And I think if LeBron wins one more title, it's going to be really hard to argue he's not the greatest player of all time. I think you're putting a lot of stock into one ring, because Jordan will still have 6, but LeBron will have 5. He'll have more conference championships. He'll have more playoff appearances. His stats will overall be more impressive. His longevity will be considerably more impressive. And I want to be able to say I saw the greatest basketball player of all time, and I wasn't alive for Michael Jordan. So they would be my number 2 pick. Also, if the Nuggets were to lose to them, and maybe they lose to whatever team in the finals, I'd rather the Nuggets reach the finals. That's the one hole in my whole argument, is this means they don't reach the finals. But I don't know. I can't find an argument for why I care about the Heat or the Celtics.
I'll tell you the reason, Zach. It's because it isn't the Lakers. That is literally the reason as to why all this appreciate greatness stuff. No, I don't care about it at all. I don't care. What comes with greatness in the sports is that it becomes also boring at the same time. Like, I'm going to hate on the greatness every single time. I don't care. Unless there's the guys on my team, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the same teams winning over and over again, and that's what the Lakers have been. They've been that team that's been dominant for so long. I don't want to see the Lakers again. Their fan base is arrogant. I see a jersey swap of every NBA player in the entire league in a Lakers jersey at least once. I don't care about the Lakers fans unless they listen to the Let's Talk Broncos podcast, in which case I love you.
We got some big Lakers fans.
Yeah, so that's the take. And I would go with the Heat.
I'm going with the nostalgia pick. I was there at the 2008 NBA championship parade for the Boston Celtics. Got to witness Kevin Garnett with the trophy, and I would be happy with them taking it again. So been watching Tatum and Smart, and just I really like their game still. But it is nostalgia. I did live out there for a while, so you can throw tomatoes at me if you wish, but it's hard to live with the truth and the greatest players to play the game. So that is honestly what should be in my bio. It just makes sense. And people don't understand it. I don't care if you don't like that I like the Boston teams, or that I'm a Tom Brady fan, or that I root for the Celtics. I really don't care. But the Nuggets probably will make it to the finals. At least I'm hoping so. We got our predictions out there at the start. I'm going to take this hashtag off the screen. It is distracting me. And I think it's going to be a good series, but we will see what happens. And if we have to, change our allegiances, that'll be okay. Frankie Abbott says that's disgusting. You're a Bucks fan. Who cares, Frankie? All right. I'm so sad that you don't like that I like the Celtics. Guys, where can everybody find your stuff?
Goodness. Bree's had enough.
Where can you find your work, bro?
Find my work over at milehighsports.com. I got to say this because I'm proud about it. No one right now has an updated CU Buffs football roster on the internet except your boy. And that can be found over at milehighsports.com. Only one, because you go to certain websites, they'll have all the transfers listed out, and also in like chronological order. That doesn't help me figure out what the roster's looking like. And you got the CU website has all the players that aren't transfers, which is like 15 dudes. Okay, that's not helping me any. That's why you need the Mile High Sports article. Check it out. It's your comprehensive look at the CU Buffs roster. And then LTB YouTube. We'll be taking a little bit of a vacation here, but I think we'll still have a good bit of content coming out on the YouTube. Yeah, excited about that.
Yes. I just implore everybody, please go listen to the Let's Talk Broncos YouTube. I want you listening to that. If you're on Twitter currently, please switch over to the YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you care for Bree, Zach, and I even a little bit, you go and subscribe to it immediately. That'd be fantastic. That's all I really have. Follow me at JR Drafts. Bree, where can they find your amazing work? I know we're on the radio with Zach today, which is always fantastic. But what times can they find you guys at?
Yeah, absolutely. You can tune into the Fan Cave on Mondays for Mile High Sports Radio, 98.1 FM, Mondays, 1 to 2 p.m. Fun show that we had today. We were just talking about just about everything. A lot of NBA coverage. We're all topical. So it's all sports all the time. Love when Zach can come to the studio. As Zach already alluded to, Let's Talk Broncos is on vacation starting this Friday. So you'll get an episode on Thursday, or you get an episode on Wednesday, an episode on Thursday. And then we're off for a little bit. I believe we're taking 2 weeks off. So we'll put a little schedule out as to when we will be back on the airwaves. We know you're going to miss us, but if you'd like to join the Discord so you can get some responses to all the Broncos questions that you may or may not have. We're running low on the tank. It is empty. We need to refuel. A lot of us are going to take some vacations. Get ready for this Bronco season, because once training camp is here, it's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be insane. A little bit of changes coming at you, but don't worry. We'll be here so you can watch us talk our faces off. Bree Maestas 303 over on Twitter. Follow me. I was just over on Broncos Avenue yesterday. Yes. So you're going to check out that episode. It was a lot of fun getting to talk to those guys. And we'll talk to you again on Wednesday. Bye, guys.